Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk about the quintessential dim sum item at any restaurant. This is Shumai, and I'm going to show you how to make it completely from scratch. Alright, let's go make the wonton wrappers for the Shumai. For this ingredient, we need about 275 grams of all-purpose flour. You also need 3 eggs. Give them a little whisk before you add them in. Half teaspoon of salt. Here we have a tablespoon of water with 2 drops of food color yellow. This will give the wonton wrapper a really yellow color. The same color that you'll see in the dim sum restaurants. And add that to the mixture. Once you have all your ingredients in the bowl, let's add it to the mixer. Now we're going to mix the dough on medium-low for about 8 minutes. So after mixing after 8 minutes, it should come together into like a ball. It should feel slightly sticky if not at all. So now we're gonna let the dough rest for about 30 minutes or longer. So we're gonna wrap it up and we'll see you guys back in 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes or so, take a cup of flour and flour your tabletop. Get your bowl. If it's sticky a bit, flour it a bit and work it a little bit more. You always want to have a cup of flour nearby to work the flour. So at this point, you want to start dividing your dough to make it easier to roll it out. If you decide to roll it out by hand, you can use a rolling pin. But I suggest using a pasta machine. It helps make the rollout much easier to process. So we're going to take the remaining balls and cover them in the damp paper towel, because you don't want them to dry out, and put them off to the side. Alright, so with this piece, we're going to start rolling it out until we get So alright, with this piece, we're going to start rolling it out into a long... Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Alright. Let's get our pasta machine. For our pasta machine, we're using the Mercato Atlas 150. It's a well-known brand, especially in Italy. It's also perfectly great to use for making lo mein noodles, wonton skins, and you have complete control over the thickness of your noodles and wonton skins, which makes it a great choice for this recipe, especially when we have to make extremely thin wonton skins for our shumai. So I highly recommend that you pick this one up for your kitchen if you haven't already. So if your dough, you basically want to work with a dough that's not sticky at all. If you feel any sense or feel stickiness, you just give it a quick rinse with flour on both sides. With the Atlas, you basically want to start with the lowest number. That'll give us the thickest setting. Here you just want to pass it through at least 5 times. Here you're basically trying to relax the gluten in your dough. You want to continue progress this through the levels as thin as possible. Yeah. So here we have a 3.5-inch cookie cutter. This is about the perfect size we want for our shumai. Always remember to keep your wonton skin well floured for this process. You don't want them to stick together. So with this recipe batch, we were able to make around 60 wonton skins for our shumais, and that's more than enough. It's better to have more than less. Alright, let's talk about the filling for the shumai. Here we have about 300 grams of deveined shrimp, soaked in water. Also, we have about 400 grams of lean pork here. And we also have about 150 grams of pork trimming. Now, we're going to keep this separate, and I'm going to explain why shortly. But let's go ahead and start marinating our meats for our shumai. So for our shrimp, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So basically a 1-to-3 ratio, and we get this mixed up. Now this process will add a little springiness to the shrimp. It will give a nice crunch. Don't skip this step. A lot of restaurants use this to help give their shrimp a more enhanced flavor and taste, especially after the cooking. So I'm going to set this aside for about 15 minutes, and let's go ahead and start peppering our meat. So with our lean pork, we're going to start washing the blood from the pork. I'm going to do it at least 5 times. Basically fill with water and just let the blood diffuse out into the water, and I'm going to drain that water about 5 times. So let's go ahead and try that. So here's what it looks like so far. Basically, we're just breaking apart the meat, and this is cold water that we have the pork soaked into. So it's important that you don't skip this step. If you do skip this step, your shumai at the end is going to look a lot darker. By washing the blood from the pork, it's going to help brighten the filling up a lot. Here's the second wash, the third wash, fourth wash, fifth wash. So after washing for 5 times and straining as much of the water out of the pork, you'll notice that the pork got significantly much more whiter. And that's what we're looking for. Alright, to this mixture, we're going to add your pork trimming. To this mixture, we're going to add about a teaspoon of water mixed with baking soda. Give that a good mix. And give it a good mix. I'm going to put this off to the side and cut up our shrimp. Alright, here's our delicious shrimp. And let's mince it up. Alright, let's mince up our shrimp. So after transferring all the meat to the main bowl, I'm going to give it a good mix. We're going to also add about 10 grams of salt. This will help break down the proteins. And continue mixing for about at least maybe 3 to 4 minutes so everything's well incorporated. So after mixing for 3 minutes, it's time to smash our filling. Basically, just use our hand and grab a handful and just smack it down. Let's add a bit to springiness to the filling as you eat it. For this, we need about like 6 or 7 black mushrooms. or shiitake mushrooms. And I'm going to just dice them up. Make sure to cut off the nub from your black mushroom. So what we're looking for here is finely diced black mushrooms. Feel a sense of how well diced these mushrooms are. And we're going to take that and add to our pork mixture. Now for the seasoning for the shumai, we're going to keep it really simple because we don't want to really hide the flavor of the shrimp in the shumai. We really want the shrimp to accentuate itself. So here we go. Add a tablespoon and a half of sugar. Half a tablespoon of chicken bouillon powder. Half a tablespoon of white pepper. Half a teaspoon of MSG. 2 teaspoons of light soy sauce. And we're gonna mix it up. And about 40 to 50 grams of lard. This will help coat the shumai. Make it easier to work with. I'm gonna give that a good mix. All right, everything's well incorporated, and now let's start filling our wonton wrappers. So making your shumai is pretty straightforward. Basically, you want to make a circle or C shape with your index finger and your thumb and place your wonton wrapper on top. And take about maybe a tablespoon of your filling and dump it on the center of your wrapper. From here, you want to lower your wrapper slightly inwards on the inside of your C. And then take your knife and just slowly press in all the way around till you reach all the way around the shumai. Once you got all the way around, you basically want to take your index finger and thumb and constrict the side of the shumai to press it in. Just give it like a slight volcano eruption to the top of the shumai, and then just even out the top. And there you go, one shumai. So out of the 60 wonton wrappers, we were able to use 51 to make 51 shumais. Unless you have plans to eat all 51 shumais, I highly recommend that you freeze them. Shumais freeze well and reheat well. Now the wonton skins for these shumais are a bit on the thicker side, but that's how I like it. What I prefer, if you want eating dinner, push it down to 0.5 millimeter, and that's probably the lowest setting on your pasta maker. Now if you found the information in this video useful and helpful, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, leave it in the section below. I'd love to hear back from you guys. Until next time, peace out and happy cooking.